Hey, Mystic Michaela spiritual family. Welcome to Know Your Aura with Mystic Michaela. Today, we are talking about the logic aura colors. Do you feel like you tend to lead a little more with your head sometimes than your emotions? Well, that's okay. It's possible that you lead with and wear a logic color. And I'm going to talk about what those are. But first, hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys.
All right. So my question for everyone is, have you ever been called a difficult woman?
Well, yes, I have.
Oh, I wasn't really talking about you.
Oh, scratch that. Edit it.
Okay, sure. Yeah, because a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today, these logic colors, when women tend to wear them, so red or yellow or orange, when women tend to wear these colors, society really beats them up for it. Whereas if you're a man wearing these colors, you get a lot of pats on the back instead. So I'm going to place the emphasis on a little bit with the women when I talk about these colors today. Although if you're a man or you are thinking about somebody who is a man who's wearing these types of colors, that would make sense too.
Okay. All right. So many of our listeners already know this, but let's just do a little Aura 101.
Okay.
Just to make sure everyone's on the same page. We have a lot of new listeners. All right. So you break it down, basically, your Aura colors. You break it down to logic colors and empath colors.
Correct.
Okay. So the logic colors are your red, yellow, green, and then the one that we don't really talk about too often, orange.
Yeah.
But you are going to be talking about that today. So we're going to be covering red, yellow, and orange. We're skipping the green. We did that.
Green was episode 217. You have a whole episode.
Okay. And then most of the time, or the majority of the time, we do talk about the empath colors. They get the most play.
They do.
On KYA, right?
Yeah, that's good.
You like that one? Yeah. And those would be blue, purple, turquoise would be an empath color. Pink is an empath color.
Yeah.
Indigo. And then, the different shades that you've come up with over the years, like the blue to go, the green
koi's,
right?
All that,
so those would be your empath colors, but we're not focusing on those today.
Right.
Now, typically, and I don't know if I think you said there's been a few cases that you've seen. Typically, people have one logic color and one empath color. Sometimes they're double empath color, so they might be a purple. Let's say you're a purple blue, so you're a double empath color. But typically, I think most of the time you see one logic and one empath.
There's never two logic colors.
Right. Except I think you said a couple times you've seen it.
Yeah, but
very
it's
rare.
not you listening.
Right.
It's not your husband. Okay. Like, he's got blue in there somewhere. Trust me. Okay. Like, it's 99.9% of people, you're either a logic with an empath color or just two empath colors.
Okay.
Sometimes you're a tricolor, and you could be, two logic colors with an empath color, but nobody's two logic colors.
Okay, so what you're saying is if you took the quiz in What's My Aura, the book, or the quiz online at knowyouroura.com, and you got red-green, that's probably not right.
You're right.
You're not Mussolini.
Correct.
Who might have that combination.
Right. Like, somebody who has that combination, there's something truly wrong with them.
Okay.
That there's something that a psychologist needs to diagnose, a psychiatrist needs to diagnose. It's not you. And I do feel like we have to, I got to clear that up, because society, when especially women wear these logic colors I'm going to talk about today, like I said, they can beat them up a little bit. So I want to give you words. I want to give you words if you feel like you are yellow, if you feel like you're red, if you feel like you're orange. I want to give you words to understand yourself, describe yourself to other people, and also to and if you know someone who wears these aura colors, it's going to allow you to maybe understand them in a new way and maybe have compassion for how they think and also approach them differently. Because sometimes if you don't know how you are and you're dealing with somebody who's, maybe they don't know how they are, you can come to their camp a little bit, and it's easier to communicate this way, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. And let's just clarify one more thing before we take a little break. If you're a tricolor.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So does a tricolor typically have one logic, two empath colors, or is it typically two logic and one empath color?
Typically, I see two empath colors with a logic color in a tricolor. So like yellow, purple, blue, like that.
So you wouldn't see like red, yellow, purple.
I can.
Right.
That's not unheard of.
Okay.
Like a lot of times I'll see sometimes I'll see green, yellow, blue. That's not unheard of. I'll see that. And it's fine, but typically the tricolors are 2 empath and then 1 logic color. And then what happens is if you do have a logic color, if you're walking around, you got a red aura, you got a yellow aura, and we've talked about this on the green aura when episode 217, if you have an orange aura, what's happening is you're going to probably lean on the logic color a lot because that's the one that makes the most sense to society. So that's the one that actually gets you through the 3D or this material physical world better. And you can overlean on it sometimes, which can make it hard to access emotions or your own wants and needs and whatnot. So understanding how your logic color works, or if you love somebody who's like this, understanding how their logic aura color works, it can help you access yourself better.
Okay. Well,
that's my goal today.
All right. Well, and we're going to be starting with red.
Yes.
We take a quick break and then red. And, as a red myself,
yeah.
Sometimes we're just a little misunderstood.
Yes.
So, listening to this, I'm assuming that not many people are red listening to this.
Yeah.
But you might know a red.
Yes.
And this could really help you deal with that red and understand that red.
Love the red.
Love the red.
The reds are it's kind of like an M&M, It's like they got the candy coating that doesn't melt.
Yes.
But inside it's a gooey center.
That's right. I mean, I'm definitely biased here when I say this statement. I think the reds really we get a tough. It's tough for us Reds.
Yeah.
We have a tough lot.
I'm going to say something.
And I am biased. I'm going to say I am biased.
You Reds are tough on each other.
Yeah.
Because when you meet each other, it's really the pot calling the kettle black. It's like, you know what I mean? Like when you meet each other, you start complaining about the other one.
Right.
And it's like you're talking about yourself. Like, that, right? So I feel bad for the Reds that way too.
Yeah.
Because you have to learn how to love yourself so that when you see yourself in others, you're like, okay, I get you because I am you. I love a red. I speak red.
You definitely speak red. Everyone in this house speaks red. You have to speak red.
You do. To live here.
To live here.
Yeah.
I was about to say that. All right, quick break. We're coming back with red.
Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys.
This podcast is sponsored by Litter Robot. Oh, tell them how much I love it.
Okay. Let me explain to you. She has this app on the phone, the Litter Robot.
I love it.
In the middle of the day, you will hear a screech of joy. Yay! And I'll be like, what's going on? What's happening?
Yeah.
Okay, Dusty went to the bathroom. That's what it is. Dusty went to the bathroom. She
so happy.
Checks these cats constantly.
Yes.
And gets giddy when they go. I'm just terrified that she's going to put me onto the app and it's going to say Scotty on there. And she's going to be tracking me. That's the next step we're here. Yeah. The kids are scared too. The kids are scared too.
Litter Robot is the solution to all your litter box problems. You never scoop again with Litter Robot. I don't scoop anymore, you guys. Litter Robot's self-cleaning technology automatically cleans after every single use. So your cats will always have a fresh bed of litter to do their business and your friends won't think your house smells like a litter box. Man, I wish I had this when we had an apartment because it doesn't smell. And get this, Litter Robot will send a notification to your phone when it needs to be emptied. That's right. It even gives you data and insights to stay on top of your cat's health. It doesn't get any easier than this. Your cat will thank you. Mine thanked me. Join over 1 million happy pets and pet parents who've upgraded to Litter Robot. I mean, what are you waiting for? I can't believe I waited this long. Whisker is currently offering $50 off Litter Robot bundles. As a special offer to listeners of the show, go to stopscooping.com/KYA and use promo code KYA to save an additional $50 off any Litter Robot bundle. That's $100 off any Litter Robot bundle at stopscooping.com/KYA and use promo code KYA. Stopscooping.com/KYA, promo code KYA. Let's talk about red auras. Then I'm going to talk about yellow auras. And then finally, I'm going to talk about orange auras. But let's start with reds. Okay. Lot of red aura women in my life. My mom's a red purple. My mom-in-law's a red purple. My oldest daughter is a red purple. My husband is a red blue. I speak red. I know all about the reds. But I feel like a lot of reds aren't as attracted to this world. The Know Your Aura world as much as some other aura colors. So I'm glad I get to focus on the reds today because reds, they're a special energy. So let's talk about them. So I asked my eldest daughter, who's a red purple, I said, hey, Bree, what do you have to say about being a red? And she said, I'm the alpha. And she walked out of the room. And I thought that was hysterical and that was perfect. Red auras in general take charge energy. They like to be in charge. They like to be leaders. They like to have control. Control's not a bad thing. Okay, we hear the word control. Control plus intention equals a context in which it can be positive or negative for people. A balanced red aura likes control, so they can create a positive context for everyone in it to find themselves and surprise themselves and learn something and be the best potential versions of themselves they can be. That's what a great red aura energy can do for others. So being in control, being a leader, being a person who can facilitate a space for other people to thrive is a huge life purpose of a red. That's why in a lot of jobs, they end up being helpers. So I see them being rescue people, police officers, firefighters. I see them being entrepreneurs. I see them being business owners. I see them being CEOs and just bosses of companies. So I see red auras being coaches and teachers, and they like to have a space in which they can make sure the people within the space feel seen. And that's what a great red aura can do. They do have a lot of passion. They can get very loud. Okay. So when we talk about men versus women and how society views this energy on, masculine energy versus feminine energy in our society, which is super obviously 3D, meaning everything is one way or this way. Women are supposed to be quiet. Women aren't supposed to be loud. Women aren't supposed to be in charge. Women aren't supposed to, they're supposed to be subservient to men or whatever. So when you're like a red aura woman and you like to be in charge, you like to be boss, you like to be in control, and you like to help other people, fulfill their own destinies through your vision. What do you get called? You get called a lot of negative things. It's not as positive pats on the back for red aura women as for red aura men in our society. But the thing with red auras is they will not back down from a point. They won't, if they feel, they would rather be correct and alone than go along with something that they do not believe in, just to be accepted. And that is usually, they'll die on that hill. They're like, no. They're very strong in convictions. So with women, red aura women, they're used to major takedown energy from society. The other thing with red aura women is they don't really play games, meaning, they're not huge gossips. They'll just straight out ask. They will take people at face value. You said you didn't want to go, so I didn't push. All right, you said it. You didn't say you were mad at me, so I'm going to assume you're not. Like that kind of thing. This can get them in trouble with other women who have also internalized the programming of society that we're supposed to constantly read between lines and be like, are you sure you said this, but you did, but I just want to make sure, red auras are like, I don't have time for that. You said you were fine. If you're not fine, please talk to me and we'll get over it quickly. Red aura women won't sit there and infer. Like, it's on you to say what you mean. I'm not going to, sit there and dissect it. They can, of course, but usually the red energy is like trying to get you to stand in your truth because they'll respect you for that. And that's a good friend and a good person around you to have, someone that's like, just say it. Okay. Like, don't wait for me to mind read you. They're not big on taking the bait either when someone's fishing for a compliment or a handout. And they can handle straight talk about their own faults too. Like, they will listen and they'll take it in and they'll consider it when approached authentically and with respect. They will work something out with you person to person and they'll let it go too when they're in a balanced space. So what does it mean to be a red aura? Let's talk about in the context of work and career. You need to believe in it. It has to be something that you feel respected in. They cannot work in environments where they feel belittled. They like to win. They love a little competition. They love a team. They like feeling challenged. They like that. I'm going to get into that more in a second. In love, they enjoy honesty. protection. They would rather hear the truth than hear something you think they want to hear. They do take the lead. They can understand other people's perspectives. That's not true of every other energy as easily, by the way. Like red auras understand that you're not like them. They can understand that. They can be like, well, you should think like me, but I understand that you don't. So I think that that's a good point to make about red auras and relationships. Like when you love a red aura, like they understand that you might not be like them, but they also, and they will help, control, you don't want to plan this way because that makes you feel uncomfortable, or you don't want to speak up here, or you're feeling, discomfort with the plan that I've made or the way that we do things. And they can understand that you don't like that, or you think different and you are different. So they're like, okay, let's come up with a different solution. So they will do that. You just have to be honest with them. They do love to find solutions. They love being the solution person. Bring them a problem. They feel so helpful. And they do well in love with other empath leading colors, meaning, they do really well with blues and purples and indigos. They do well. Their purpose in life energetically is to honestly forge ahead, make new paths, kind of go from underdog to top dog, that kind of thing. They if it's hard won, they value it. And that seems like a big purpose for them. Like, I did it, and that could be in a gazillion different contexts. That could be as simple as weightlifting. Like, all right, I couldn't do this. Now I can do this, or finishing a hike that was challenging, to learning how to buy and sell real estate or something like that. Like they love to and they are a bit into the risk. They love, and I'm going to get into that in a second because this is a whole thing. And their pet peeves, I would say, are hand holding. Because they don't do it to themselves. And they will, like, once they provide you a solution, like, here's a solution, they expect you to take it, okay? Like, don't sit there and hem and haw over it. Like, they don't like that. They really hate, have you ever heard of something called, like, an ask hole? All right. Those are people who ask for advice all the time but never take it. They hate them. Then they figure those people out real quick, and then they just start ignoring them and walking away from them, not dealing with them. And they also, their pet peeve would be people who've made their own beds and complain about lying in them. It's like it's cyclical drama to the red. It's like, this is on you now. I can't with you. And but the thing is, they'll say that. So you can see already men who act everything I just set out, men who do that get treated a lot better by society than women, for example. Okay. And the thing is that's just like a symptom of our 3D world, where people have these energies coming in, and then society, the 3D, the part of it that's trying to keep us down, will say like, oh, well, you're not supposed to be that way as a woman. But there are a lot of red aura women who are like, but this is how I am and I can't change it, and they shouldn't. And when you feel like you're wrong, or there's something off with you, or you won't be loved if you are authentically this way, but the world keeps telling you you're not, you can get jaded and angry, and it can create red characteristics that are on the more, because every, color has its positives and its negatives. It can create some negative aspects of the red, meaning they're going to get angry, they're going to get jaded, they're going to get a little more passionate in a way that's aggressive. So because you're just on the defense. So the underlying things about this color. Okay, this is what I've noted. This is my observation, knowing as many reds as I have in my life. Reds, and if you're red, please listen to this. Oh, and one of the main things about being a red is that you might not agree with anything I'm saying. And if that's true for you, that you're probably red. Because that's another thing about reds. But back to my underlying thing. This is what I've noticed. Y'all can get stuck in always starting over rather than expanding what is. And I really want you to listen to this if you're red. And I want you to listen to this no matter what, because it's a good thing for all of us to hear, but reds have a harder time breaking through this. What do I mean? I mean, you prefer a fresh start over improving on what is. Like, you can get stuck in starting over or reinventing the wheel over and over again, rather than just, oh my gosh, I already did this, now let's improve upon it. I feel like red auras just love a struggle, and they confuse the feeling of struggling with success or working towards something. Like if you feel like something happened easily for you without a struggle, that it's not good or it's not worth it, or it's not a win. Like if it doesn't hurt, it's not a win, and red auras don't mind a bit of pain. Like, actually, that's how they forge ahead back to their life purpose, forging ahead. Like, if it hurts somehow, whoa, that was good. That's why they like risk, or they like really challenging physical activities, because they like a little pain. They don't mind that. But we got to put that in the places where it's okay. Putting it in love, or, putting it in work, or putting it in financial situations, or putting it in how you talk to yourself or how you treat yourself or things like that. Like, that is where they can get really stuck, when they think things are worth more if they hurt. And so I noticed that with red auras, instead of, okay, I did this, now let's level up, they're like, scrap it, let's start over. Like, all the time. So they're always starting over. Instead of improving upon your home, for example, you're like, oh, I'm going to sell it, and I'm going to just buy a new one and build it from the ground up again. And they just keep doing this over and over again, metaphorically.
Hello, podcast fans. If you're looking for a new podcast, if you enjoy articles, books, pop culture, and hilarity, try listening to the Brain Candy Podcast.
That's right. The Brain Candy Podcast has over 500 episodes of educational hilarity to satiate your learning needs. Just search for the Brain Candy Podcast on your podcast app, or click the link in the show notes.
All right. Oh, another thing I noticed, and this is more kind of like this, I have to say, this is a red thing, but I will say this is more a red-purple thing. Quiet luxury. What does that mean? You ever heard that thing like, okay, red auras love a bargain. They sure do. And they don't like getting ripped off, but they don't mind spending money on certain things. Like, if they like something, they'll spend money on it, and they will spend money to look the way they want to. Classic, quality. They're not super trendy. They're not like trend followers. It's more like, I like this, and I'm going to keep buying this because this is what I like. And it does, like, maybe it's a car, maybe it's a designer, maybe it's just something that, whatever. They will spend the money. Sometimes I call them flashy cashy, but it's really quiet luxury. Like, I feel like if you ever see a red purple, like, look at their outfit, something on there costs more than you think it does. Maybe they got the glasses, or they got something, and they're not screaming it from the rooftops, and they're not doing it because they want to fit in, because they hate following trends, but they are doing it because they've decided they like it, and they'll spend the money on it. And I think that that's really funny. Also, they hate getting sick. They get super grumpy when they're sick. They do not like control over their body leaving. Red rants. I talk about red rants. It's when a red aura just talks constantly about something that they can't stand. You just have to listen. You got to ride it out and just agree. Like, yeah, no, totally. Until they're done. And then they're calm. They're calm. But it's really about fairness. So red auras can't stand injustice. They cannot stand it. They see the world and they're like, oh my gosh, like, whatever it is. It could be anything. And they just see in these little microcosms of the world, like where the big dogs are taken from the little guys, and they can't stand it. And they get really, really upset. And so a lot of red rants tend to be about that. Like, why do I have to pay for this, but the people with money don't have to pay this, like, whatever it is. Like, usually it boils down to, wow, it's really unfair here. And they see it so clearly, and they get really passionate and worked up about it. So that's a big thing. They hate being ripped off, but they love tipping big. That's just control. Like, I'll pay what I want to pay, but don't tell me what to pay. Like, that kind of thing. Oh, red women. People want to take them down a peg. I have seen this because I know so many red aura women. I see this all the time. It's really hard watching it in my teenage daughter, because I see it with teachers. Okay. I see it with women. A lot of women will try to take red purples down a peg. I can see red women doing better with guys than girls. Sometimes, not all the time. You find your people. You can totally find your people when you're a red aura woman, and then you're loved and accepted and embraced. But I'm going to tell you, other women do tend to take red auras down a peg. It's like, because they're confident, because they walk in, because they're not hand holding you, because they're not smiling at everything you say, because they're not like kissing your butt. They don't do that. They don't know how to, because they're to the point, because they're honest, because they're asking for what they want, because they're self-advocating. They're not being rude. They're just not acting. They're not using like language like, oh, if I may say so, or I just wanted to say, or if you don't mind me speaking, or I'm so sorry I'm talking. They don't do that. It's just, they can't. It's just not part of them. So what happens? It gets perceived in the programming of other women that like, oh, okay, I'm going to take you down now. And all of a sudden, you know, they're not getting the things other people are getting. And like maybe everyone else gets extra credit to bump their 89 to a 90. And all of a sudden you ask, hey, can I have extra credit? I'll do whatever. I notice it. No, it's not for you. It's like, why? Like, why? Unless it's personal, why? It's because it's personal. And that may be a real story in my own life. Yes, it is with my kid. But anyways, my point is this happens all the time. And I see it all the time. And so red auras either get really pissed about it and they get like, okay, I'll show you about it. Or they learn how to fit in because reds can be very charismatic and very schmoozy. And they learn how to do it in a different way. You know, okay, I'll play this game. I'll play it better than you can too. And they can get very confident socially. So it's hard. It's hard for red aura women. By the way, red auras reality shift like I have never seen anybody reality shift in my life. Okay. Red auras are contagious with their mood. So if you're in a good mood and you're a red aura, the whole world will work out that way. If you're in a bad mood, the whole world will work out that way. And reality shifting is if you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, like, oh, this day's going to suck. All of a sudden, everything's going to line up to that. You're going to hit every red light. You're going to spill your coffee on your pants while you're driving. You're going to, you know, get the bad news at work. You're going to get the phone call from your friend canceling plans. I mean, it's like that. Flip it around. You wake up in a great mood, same thing can happen. So they reality shift so strong. Like their 3D and their 5D are very attached, like knee-jerk reactive, actually. Now, if you know this about yourself, you can use it as a red to manifest. That's why reds are so great at sales and personal relationships. Like when red auras are on, whew, that's why they are so good at selling, at vibing, at getting everyone to believe in their dream, at like being the leader, team leader, group leader. Like, yeah, come on. It's great. They're good. Like when they're on, they're on. So you got to know that power in yourself as a red and use it. But it's hard because you can get very passionate either way. Family's everything. Family's everything to reds. They love family. It's a big thing for them. And their friend groups too. Friend group loyalty. You know, they really expect a lot from their friends, a lot. And they can get a little judgy if you don't do what they consider. They're big on character. Let's put it that way. They're very big on character. They hold themselves to a very high esteem and they expect you to do the same thing. And if you don't, they can get really, what it is hurt, but because they're red, it can come off as like mean, but they're not. They're just like hurt. So you got to just own it. When you've upset a red, you have to own it. You have to like, listen, I did that. I apologize. I see what I did. Okay. And I'm going to work on it. Claircognizance. They just know stuff. They're very animal instinct about things. Like, and the good thing is they listen to red flags and they don't throw out excuses. Like a lot of us see red flags, but they're, well, he didn't mean to, or his mom wasn't nice to him. So, you know, it's okay that he didn't get me a birthday gift. You know, like a lot of us are like, well, you know, we do that. Red aura is like, no, we're not, no. They just are like, nope. And they just move on. It's such a power. And it's really hard another thing is red aura women have a really hard time dating because a lot of men, back to the whole society thing and how they perceive red aura women, men either want to compete with you, like they see you as competition, like you're a lot of energy for them, and they're like their insecurities can come out. So it takes it's harder. It's hard. You really trigger the male ego when you're a red aura woman. It sucks. It's really annoying. It's all 3D nonsense. So it takes a real secure dude. You got, you know, if that's how you're dating. Red aura women, yeah, it's hard to date men when you're a red or a woman. I think that is a consistent situation that I have noticed. So just to validate you, not impossible, but if you're having struggles, yes. Honestly, what's happening is you're probably just you're not wasting your time in a lot of relationships that probably wouldn't have worked out anyways. So it's not like, it's just, you're not wasting your time. You're just pickier. You can seem like you're pickier, but anyway, so a lot of men want to compete with you, or they kind of, on the flip side, they can kind of want you to come in and like fix everything for them or something. Or you get friend zoned, like you become like one of the bros when you're dating men and you're a red or a woman. What do they want you to know? They trust their gut. Okay. They have empathy, just not a whole lot of excuses for people. They do not care if you hate them. Okay. Don't care. As long as they stand in their truth, they sleep just fine at night. Anger is just a reaction before sadness and vulnerability. It's not mad at you. It's mad at the world or mad at the situation. So when they get upset, it's like a lot. It's like, whoa, are you mad at me? Like it can seem like, oh my God, like that was a lot. Yeah, like you're intense. That's just them moving through their emotions, dealing with something. Like they're very sensitive. They're really into physical touch. They really are. They flirt really well. Somebody on the page, like, are they extra sexual? Yeah, they are. They sure are. Also, they're very schmoozy and they're witty. Very charismatic when they want to be. They're really funny. This is my own thing. I think red auras just expect everything to fall apart anyhow. Like they don't have high expectations for people or the world. Like it's just kind of like, well, that makes sense. But they're still angry about it. So when a crisis happens, a big thing with red auras is like, yeah, obviously we got screwed over. It's just how things are. Well, this is what we do. Thank God I knew already. I knew it. I knew it was going to happen. So they're funny. They want you to know they can drive better than you do. All right. To be determined, because the yellows have something to say about that. They can really be in the moment when they want to be. They're big kids. They're kids at heart. They like the real you. They don't like the you that you think they like. Okay. They want real you. They don't care what that looks like. They just want real you. All right. Just be authentic. Authenticity versus fake anything. They will stick up for the underdog all the time. They don't like when people have power trips over the little guys. Like when they see someone having a power trip over someone else, oh, they get mad because they see that. Because like power trips really trigger them. Like someone on a power trip, like yelling at somebody or, being a bully. Red auras hate a bully. Get yourself a red aura friend when you're in school if you're getting bullied, because they will just walk right up to you. And red auras are actually really hard to bully, by the way, because they're just like, what? Like, I'll say it about myself first. What are you going to say? Like, they own it. They're like, what? I look like that? Okay. Yeah, I do. Now let's talk about what you look like, because that's what we know you can't handle. Like, they're very scary to bully. Like Scott, my husband, who's a red, always says about my daughter, Bree, who's a red, there's easier people to pick on than Bree. And that is true, because red auras are just like, what? Now let's talk about you. And I feel like bullies know that, so they stay away from the reds. But they will stick up for people who are getting bullied very quickly. Respect is earned, not given. I don't care who you are. If teachers, people in authority, public officials, just because you got the title doesn't mean you got my respect. Show me the money. That's how red auras are. And conversations can feel like arguments with them. Okay. What makes them happy? Somebody said beach on the page, and I was like, yes, I feel like that is a commonality I've seen. Water, beach, like just beach, like any red purple I've known. I know red blues, I don't know. Sometimes they don't like the schlep, I call it, to the beach, but beach. All right. Being active and family, and just some shade distinguishings, aura combination distinguishings. Red purples tend to be, like I said, charismatic, flashy, really hard to take your eyes off of, very like compelling. There's something about them, like a je ne sais quoi, something, a very intense, but in a way you're like, whoa, kind of like goddess energy if you're a woman. Red blues, sometimes the blue, and red indigos. Okay. Red indigos and red blues. I'm going to stick you guys together just for a second. I think the thing with the indigo/blue is what happens is you can feel the red ends up protecting it. So like when I see a lot of red blues or red indigos, the indigo and the blue is inside the aura. It's like a little nut. It's like a little protected gooey center of blue or indigo. And then they've built up a lot of red around it. So when something actually gets through the red and touches their little empath energy in there, they can really erupt. They can really erupt and they can feel particularly victimized sometimes. So these are your people who would lay down their life for you. Okay. They're like, what do you need? They would give you anything they could, shirt off their back and more. Very self-sacrificing, but they can you got to kind of crack through the red sometimes first before you see what their passion and what their emotion is really about. Okay. When we come back, we're going to talk about yellows. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys.
So it's summer. And when I think of summer smells, I think of sunscreen, salty beach air, barbecue on the grill, and unfortunately, I think of body odor.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you, I was smart. When we got stuck at the Kansas City airport, and we were there all day, we were practically living there.
Yeah.
I had my Lumi with me. I had the foresight to know to bring the Lumi. And right there in the middle of the airport, people were watching me. I was just putting it on. And,
oh, yeah.
And then people started coming over to me, and they were like, oh, look at that guy.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
You smell great.
Yes.
You don't smell like body odor.
Exactly.
I love Lumi because you can put it anywhere. It's a whole body deodorant. Lumi is seriously safe to use anywhere on your body. I mean, your pits, underboots, thigh folds, belly buttons. I mean, let's just keep going. If you thought it, you can put it there. It was created by an OBGYN who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. It's clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor up to 72 hours. How? Well, unlike certain deodorants that try to mask odor with a fragrance, Lumi is formulated and powered by mandelic acid to stop odor before it starts. It's more like a pre-odorant. After many requests, they've formulated a new product to keep you smelling fresh and help you stay drier. Lumi whole body deodorant plus sweat control. It's the same 72-hour odor control now with 72-hour sweat control. You can experience the same outrageously effective 72-hour odor control while keeping sweat under control as well. Lumi's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like the mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get 15% off all Lumi products with our exclusive code. And if you combine the 15% off with the already discounted starter pack, that equals to over 40% off their starter pack. Use code AURA for 15% off your first purchase at LumiDeodorant.com. That's code AURA at LumiDeodorant.com. Let's talk about yellow auras. Throughout my life, I've always just been attracted as friends in friend relationships to yellows. I love you. I love you, yellow auras. You crack me up. You're hysterical. You're just so present in your details. And I just appreciate how you see things so clearly because I don't. And I think that yellows do so much. They're so behind the scenes. Whenever you see, I said this about famous people because I'll do all this stuff on my stories, all the actresses and the musicians. And then every once in a while, someone in my DM's like, where are the yellow auras? I guess there's not a lot of yellow auras in the world. They don't get it. And I'm just like, oh no, they're all behind the scenes. And that is why this person is famous, because there's a yellow person behind the scenes doing everything to keep them famous. Because that's what you guys do. You just do everything to keep things going. And I appreciate that. So what does it mean to be a yellow? So yellow auras are detail oriented. I mean, they just see everything and they appreciate the little things. They can flesh out a moment. They can work backwards from a goal to what the first step has to be. And they see the world in an aesthetic way as well. This looks good. This doesn't look good. They just know. They get it. They know it's an immediate thing that's just within them. And they like to plan. That doesn't give them anxiety. First thing, if you're like, oh, that sounds like me. I'm yellow. I like to okay. But when you're planning or when you're organizing or when you're scaffolding information or synthesizing information or creating programs or creating systems, does it give you anxiety or does it make you feel connected? Does it make you feel good while you're doing it or are you anxious and stressed? If it makes you feel good, you're yellow. If not, you're just doing it because we all have to do this at some point. And that's kind of how you know if you're yellow or not. But anyways, yellows. What do yellows like to do in work? Let's talk about yellows in career. Anything where you scaffold information, analyze it, synthesize it, creating systems for others to work within. There you go. That's why a lot of times they're interior designers, real estate, they're administrative work, accounting, anything where, and they like to work independently. They're very much the person that the kid in school that was like, can I work on this project by myself? Like that. Like that's it, which I was too when I'm indigo purple, but I feel like yellows take the cake. And when you work with a yellow aura, it's basically, you're just like, okay, what's my job is the only question you ask. That's like, what do you need me to do? Because they already have it. They're real good at delegating, understanding, okay, you do this, like pieces to the project. And getting it done, the steps. They as in love, in relationships, they're very independent people. And they like people who are independent too. They love people who are similar to them, so they can be friends with other yellows for sure. And they also like being around people who are basically like, okay, yeah, let's do it. And they're good little participants in the yellow aura's vision. I do see in relationships, romantic relationships, yellows do really well with greens, and they do well with like blues as well, and blues and indigos as well. And they can kind of handle a lot. They like their independence. You can't tell a yellow aura, you can't do that this way. We have to do it my way. They're pretty good at doing things without having to check with someone else. And I think it depends on what kind of marital relationship you have. If you're married, sometimes sometimes couples make every single decision together. Yellow auras need their own ability to make independent decisions about what they're doing. I'm signing my kid up for this, and no, I'm not talking to my spouse about that because that's just what I'm doing. Or I'm going to this event, and no, I didn't ask them because I'm going. They're just independent like that. They need that. And in work, they need to be independent too. They need to feel like no one's looking over their shoulder. That's a big and pet peeve, which I'm getting to, of yellow auras: micromanaging, looking over their shoulder, or taking their system and reworking it for whatever the system is. Their purpose, I would say yellow aura's purpose in a nutshell is to leave the world better than they found it. Yeah. Like, when they walk into a place, they just have this need. Here, let's just make it better. Let's just do this. Let's just try this. Let's just try that. It's a lovely thing. I also feel like yellow auras have a big purpose in creating tradition, memories, systems which are comforting and safe so that others are allowed to feel their own joy and their own moments and their own connection. Isn't that nice? Yellow aura women tend to get the brunt of a lot of the family tradition and a lot of the holiday magic. And listen, all women do. I'm just saying with yellows, they kind of take it sometimes to the next level. So when they want to do something, they're real big on let's create a memory. And they can get kind of step by step about it. That's not them being controlling. That is them making sure that this is done in a way where every part of it gets expressed, enjoyed, remembered. So where it's solidified so that the next generation can pick it right back up. And remember that tradition and these systems that yellow auras are very connected to are lovely ways in which information can get handed down. So I feel like they're big on that. They're big on valuing systems which create tradition and memory. Pet peeves: micromanaging, ingratitude. Come on, say thank you. They love a thank you note. They love just you saying thank you. They love you they can be a little uncomfortable when you say it though. That's the funny thing about yellows. You're like, I just want to thank you so much for putting together this. Oh, it's nothing. It's nothing. It's not, like they get real stressed out. But we need to thank the yellows. And yellows, you need to receive it. Just say you're welcome. Because it does bother you, and that's okay when people are completely like ingrates. Like, come on, say thank you. Because you always do. Rudeness, I guess, lack of attention, blatant disregard for others. You know, when a yellow aura puts themselves in these take charge things a lot, and then they start getting upset that people don't say thank you, or people just take them for granted, or people are just like disregarding their feelings, or they just, or there's this expectation like, well, you'll do it. You know, you'll do it, Susan. We know you will. Whatever. You like doing it, so you'll do it. So you're welcome that I'm letting you do it. You know, they can get a little jaded. And that's when you have to step out and be like, hey, wait a second. I need to ask for things. The underlying things about yellow auras, you know, they notice everything. It's not something they have a choice in. They have like microscope eyes. They can't help it. This can come off as looking like they're being critical. They're not. The first thing they notice in themselves looking in the mirror is, oh my God, I have a stain on my shirt, or oh, my hair is looking weird, or oh, I did my eyeliner funny. Like, they can't help it. So sometimes they get some crap from other people for seeming critical. When they walk into a restaurant or something, they're going to be like, look at the baseboards here. Oh my God. When's the last time I looked at a baseboard? They are looking at this stuff all the time. They can't help it. So they're not critical on purpose. They just happen to see it. It walks up to them and slaps them in the face. So they're not being mean. Order. The other thing they want you to know is order is love. Order is flow. Order is an activity. Order is not control. They're not being controlling. They just like doing what let them do what they do. They like doing it. Say thank you, appreciate it, you know, respect it. Okay. They're curious, but they're not nosy. Yes, they ask a lot of questions. Okay, they do. They do have a lot of questions that you might yourself not have ever thought of. Like, whoa, I don't know. That's crazy. You know, like that. That's not them being nosy. They just really like to know things. They're always learning. They love to learn. You know, I think a lot of us, school's over, you know, it's summer or whatever, we're like, I'm never... Maybe I'm talking about myself. I'm not learning one more thing this summer. My brain is shut. Yellows aren't like that. They're like, oh my gosh, I like to learn this. I want to learn about this. They like to throw themselves into all sorts of new, I'm going to learn this new technology. I'm going to learn about this whole, I don't know, religion. I'm going to learn about this event space opening up. They like to educate themselves. They are total detectives. I joke about this all the time, but it is not a joke. It is true. You give, let's say you're dating somebody. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm meeting so-and-so off Hinge for a date. First, last name. That's all you give it. That's it. They will find the Facebook page. They will find their Instagram. They will find like handles you didn't know about. They'll find like driving records. I mean, they will find everything. And thank you. Thank you, Yellow Aura friend, for helping us with that, because they are total detectives and it's just kind of easy for them to do it. Also, they read between the lines when they're a detective. Like they'll see something like, okay, that was this year, and at the same time this was going on. Like, I don't know, they put connections together and you're like, are you a private investigator? They're not. But man, they should be. Like, they'll put things together. They read between the lines when they investigate. Listen, if you're gonna, another thing you need to know about yellows, don't come at them unless you're 100% correct and you know it, because they have receipts. They have like a quick recall. They recall better than you can. What do I mean by that? I suck at this, but then again, I am purple, where if, and I'm indigo too, so I forgive everything, and then I also forget everything. So like, let's say you're in an argument with a yellow, and you're like, hey, you were da-da-da-da. It's like, well, 2 years ago, on June 8th, you sent me this text message. And it's like, whoa, how did you recall that so flippin' quickly? Just, they can. It's just... Their mind is like a file system that they can access differently than the rest of us can. So good job, yellows. But yeah, they have receipts. I mean, don't come at them unless you know they're right. They're really good at defending themselves. The other thing they want you to know is, I know they look organized, but they don't feel organized. Also, yellow auras, the other thing, they're always like, I'll get these people, and they're so yellow. And they're like, I can't be yellow. My car's a mess. It's like, okay, but like their social calendar is totally like, oh my God, like color coded or something, or maybe their calendar's a mess, but their car is like super organized. They're getting cleaned all the time, detailed, and they like have compartments for stuff. You might not be organized in every single area of your life, but the areas that you are, you take it to the next level. Okay, like your closet's amazing or something. It's like next level something. So you might not be organized everywhere, but there is a standout spot where people, or the other thing I noticed with yellows, because this is my life, you know everything. So if you're the person getting the texts all the time, like, hey, do you know a doctor for my right foot or whatever? Like, yeah, like, and you're immediately texting back like, Dr. Right foot is great for right foot surgery. Like, I don't know, like they know if you're constantly getting these texts, you're probably yellow, because people know that you just know stuff. Hey, what's the school supply list for 4th grade? Oh, here. And like your kid hasn't been in 4th grade for like 8 years. Like you're definitely yellow. So they just know everything all the time. They're better than Google. That's the other thing. Because then they'll give you extra stuff. And they're like, and you might want the supply list for next year too here. Like they have extra stuff too that you didn't even know you needed. They beat themselves up all the time. That's the other thing. They're so mean to themselves. I mean, nobody's meaner to a yellow aura than the yellow aura themselves. And you guys who are yellow, stop it. Like, or at least you can't stop it. It's going to happen because again, you see everything with detail and you see it in yourself and you're very tough on yourself. So instead, you can't stop it, but you can't step away from it and be like, oh, I'm doing it again. Ha ha ha. Okay, cool. Giving yourself grace and moving forward. They do plan a lot naturally. I think it's just how they think. At this point, I think that's just how they think. And then they have alternate plans and alternate plans. So they never not have a plan. Like they've already thought of everything. And that's why they're so great in a crisis, which I'll get to. They see you so very well, but they do want to be seen too. You know, they're so great with like gifts or birthday gifts or thoughtful gifts or stuff like that. And you know, they're not used to people doing that to them. So I feel like with yellows, sometimes they lose sight of the fact that you got to open up a little bit too. And you got to tell people what you like too. And you also have to let people know you. But yellows are so good at knowing you. And they really want you to know that they see you. Because actions are their love language. Like they just have a way of doing something. Sometimes it's not always words. It's like their action. So you're going through times, they drop off food. Oh, you know, so sweet. Like they didn't give you words to what you're going through, but they sure did do something for you. That is such a love language to them. And it's beautiful and it's very sweet. Or you're going through something and they like, let me get your kids this week from school or whatever. Or let me bring you over dinner. Like that's just how they are. So actions are their love language. They want you to know that. They happen to know a lot, but they're not a know-it-all. That's another thing. Oh, you know, they might want to be control of like some component of life, but not every single one. So like maybe, you know, they're planning a party and, you know, they don't mind doing that, but they don't want to plan all the parties, you know, like they're total, let's spread out the fun here. You know, I'll do my thing. It doesn't mean I want to do everything. Or somebody on the page said, you know, I want to make the shirts for the kids, I don't know, school function. I don't want to plan the whole function, you know, but I'll be in charge of shirts. I'll be in charge of that thing. I can't be in charge of everything though. So that, they won't ask you for a favor. They just won't, but they would like you to offer every once in a while. They're real good at offering favors. A lot of people don't, you know, when you seem busy, like a yellows seem busy. They seem capable. They're super independent. So people don't see them as needy or don't see them as deficient in anything. And when you're a yellow aura, like people just think you're fine all the time, but they're not. So when you have a yellow aura in your life, it's important, you know, they kind of want you to be like, hey, I'm a person. Ask me if I need something today. Ask me what I'm going through. Ask me what I can do. Ask me, you know, just remember that just because they look like they have it all together, they might need help too. What else? The other thing with yellow auras, and this is my own thing, I've noticed. Once you get to know them a bit, then you know, like, hey, what's going on? You seem flustered today. Oh, joy, poor yellows. They hate when you ask them what's wrong and something is wrong. Because immediately they're like, oh my God, am I messy? Like, am I a hot mess? Do I look messy? They don't like to look energetically amiss. You know, so when you ask them, hey, are you okay? You know, like what they hear is, you're such a mess and I've noticed it. Watch yourself, check yourself, you know, like that. That's me telling yellows that. But like, if you have a yellow or a friend, just give them a second to adjust when you notice that something is wrong with them. And you might even have to say, like, listen, like, I am only asking you because I know you so well. It's not apparent to anybody but me, you know, but just so you know, are you okay? Like that. So anyways, that's what I noticed. What do they want you to know? They fear loss. I feel like yellows are the ones that are knitting everything together all the time. They knit their life together. They know that they are the main thread, the keystone in the arch of their life. And if somebody knocks them out, everything crumbles. So I feel like yellows really fear being sick, dying, not because of the obvious, like I don't want to get sick and I don't want to die. More kind of like, oh my God, nobody will know how to do anything like that. It'll fall apart if I leave. Oh my God, like that. But they also fear loss of just everyone around them because they're so well oriented with how everything works and how all the processes are of their life. So I feel like they hold so much up like a pillar on their shoulders that they're so fearful of losing everything because they're so aware of everything. And they like a plan, you know, so when plans fall apart, they can take it very personally, like this is my fault somehow that, plans fell apart. Even though that does happen in life, that's just, in crisis occurs, they want you to know that they are figuring it out inside their head right now. They're not cold, they're just figuring it out right now. They're compartmentalizing. They're on autopilot. And they're going to be really helpful in the moment, but they're going to need time to grieve later when it hits them too, whatever happened. They do get major satisfaction from a completed plan, from the activity in life, from a well thought out moment come to fruition. They get a lot of satisfaction from that. They have a strong sense of duty. It's not that they want to do things, they just feel compelled to. So like it's a driving force that's inside of them, duty. They have a really hard time asking for the same help they give others. And actually when they feel like they need help, I feel like they can internalize it as, oh, I'm a failure. When really they don't give themselves the grace they give other people. Routine actually makes them happy, okay? Like for a lot of people, it doesn't. A lot of energy colors, it doesn't. Routine for purples, for example, can make you feel, oh my gosh, I'm controlled by this prison of monotony. But for yellows, they love a routine, and a well-done routine makes them feel super centered. Like I got up, I had coffee, I did yoga, I went grocery shopping, I got work done, like that. They love that. They cannot turn their brains off. It can't happen. I mean, it's like routine, crisis, business, like what work. It keeps them actually in the moment when their brains are whirring. That's why it's really hard for yellows to meditate traditionally. That's why if you're a yellow, or I always say guided meditation, the ones where somebody's talking to you, breathe in, breathe out. Like, I think that works better for yellows, or working meditations. Like I'm going to garden while I listen to mantras or something like that. Like, or walking meditations. They can feel very taken for granted. The level of their own effort is rarely reciprocated because their effort's so high and so consistent and so energetic and so who they are. You will find that most of the people that they bring into their life are different energies. Like they don't work like that. They don't notice it. They just kind of expect it. They're not being rude about it. It's just like when you're a yellow aura, you may have attracted a lot of people who aren't, and you're filling some sort of role in their life of being the busy bee, and they're not the busy bee because that's like your job. So that can be hard for yellows because you're like, oh God, I didn't get like one call for my birthday and all the things I do for everybody else's birthday, that kind of thing. That's when you got to learn to ask for things, which is uncomfortable for a yellow, but a good spiritual exercise. They'd love a break. You can offer to plan something for them. They might decline that though, but you could offer. I think it means something. But you also have to offer and make sure that they don't think that you're doing it because they don't do a good job. Like usually I want to give you a break. That's why let me plan this girls' night. They're very honest. They're very honest. They're excessively honest. It's not them being mean. If you ask them for their opinion, they'll give it to you. red auras will too. But that's not them being mean. If you, and lastly, if you ask them for something, if you're like, hey, can you find me the best space to have my baby shower? The second you ask a yellow aura, let that go, man. They already found the spot, priced it for you, found another spot, compared it. They've already decided this is the best place for you. They have a date. Like, just if you're going to ask them something, let them run with it. Don't interfere and just say thank you and just like do it, because just trust they got it. They do. They found you the best price. They found you the best venue. They know. What makes them happy? When something works out the way they envisioned it and they can see everyone flourish within it. A well thought out plan come to fruition, a checklist crossed off, a project well done, a moment created and shared in the way they wanted it to be. They work really hard to create moments where they can feel present. Translation, when they ask you to do the family photo while you're all wearing white shirts and blue jeans, just flip and do it. Okay? Just put on the blue jeans and put on the white shirt and go take their family picture. It makes them happy. And they like their own ways of doing things best. And I have a story about that. My really best friend from high school, who I'm still friends with, she said something once. Like, she always made, she cooks. So she would make Christmas cookies all the time. And I was like, oh, here, do you want to do a cookie exchange? And she was like, no, I like my own cookies best. Meaning, like, she didn't want any of my cookies. She's like, I don't want your cookies. Okay, they're not as good as mine. Now, having said that, her cookies are freaking good, and I'm purple, man. You make me a cookie. I never met a cookie I didn't like, but I think that says a lot about yellow auras. I like mine best. And her saying that wasn't mean. It was just her being honest with me. But also, she made me a bunch of cookies. She just didn't want any of mine. Could I have taken that away? Like, wow, she said my cookies suck. No. I'm like, cool. I didn't have to make more cookies for you, so I can keep mine, and I have a bunch of yours. Awesome. That's just how yellows are. They like their own ways of doing things best, usually. And we love that about them. That's why I think they're so funny. Real quick with the aura combo differentiations. Yellow purples. Oh, yellow purples. The struggle is real. When you're a yellow, you're all the things I just said, but then you're purple too, which is like the opposite. Yellow purples have such a struggle. They can go through really yellow times, and they can go through purple times. Purple times meaning creative, chaotic, no routine, busting through kind of old stuff that you worked so hard on, and then like basically destroying it so you could rebuild it. Also, you're really messy in some spaces and really neat and orderly in other spaces. And it's a lot of energy that's opposing. Great energy for creativity, yellow purples, like artists, again, interior design, entertainers, sales, stuff like that. And yellow purples have like a vibe where people just are very attracted to them. They want to they have an ability to do well in business, make money, really throw themselves out there, and people are like, wow, look at you. They get a lot of criticism, but they also get a lot of people wanting to do what they do and be how they are. They get a lot of jealousy is what they get. Yellow blues, yellow indigos, behind the scenes. So behind the scenes, doing everything, they don't want attention. Please don't look at me. Please don't. Salt of the earth, like very, they like their alone time, big on family stuff. They just want everyone tell the yellow blue / yellow indigo in your life how much you love them, how happy you are for them, how lovely the last holiday was, like what your favorite dish they make is. I mean, tell them that stuff. That would just rosy them up. They'd be so happy. Yellow turquoises, I say this about turquoise with any aura combination. Turquoises kind of take over the energy of what you are anyways, meaning if you're turquoise anything, the turquoise probably you're going to lead with mostly. But yellow turquoises, a lot of spiritual stuff, spiritual practices, spiritual or food, eating healthy, holistic, things like that, where you're kind of going down a methodical way to do something spiritual or a methodical way to do something health and mind body connected. Yellow pinks and yellows separately have actually a lot in common. Yellow pinks are kind of like your Barbie doll vibes, I'd have to say. So it's very much like putting things together. You're doubly good at aesthetics, kind of creating a lot of like a vibe. People are watching, and again, a lot of criticizing, but also you kind of keep your side of the street clean, meaning you got the yellow with the pink. So you got the pink, so you got all the fun pink stuff like storybook, princess, fairy tale, like that kind of, joy bubble, like all the things we talk about with pinks, but you're yellow too. So it's organized and it looks like neat and tidy and something people are like, ooh, I want to do that too. So yellow pinks have that kind of Barbie doll vibe. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about orange. I just love my cats. If you've been listening to this podcast, you know that about me. And I just want them to have the best life. And part of that is having variety in their diet, just like I have. Well, this podcast is sponsored by Smalls. And if you're a listener to the show, you know that my cat cannot live without their Smalls. Smalls cat food is protein-packed recipes made with preservative-free ingredients you'd find in your fridge, and it's delivered right to your door. That's why veterinarians.org rates Smalls 10 out of 10 for ingredient quality. My cats sit around the fridge and ask for their Smalls. They meow at me. They know what's coming. They expect it. I actually feel terrible that for years I was only just feeding them kibble. Like now that I think about it, it doesn't even make sense. And since they've been eating Smalls, all of their breath is much better and their fur is much softer and they have a little bit of a light in their eye. And if you have a particularly picky cat, Smalls does have a sampler. So your cat can try everything that Smalls has to offer. Plus, the team at Smalls is so confident your cat will love their product that you can try it risk-free. That means they'll refund you if your cat won't eat their food. But I'm going to tell you something. My cats eat their food. Won't be a problem. Now is the time to make the switch to Smalls. Head to smalls.com/KYA and use promo code KYA at checkout for 50% off your first order plus free shipping. That's the best offer you'll find, but you have to use my code KYA for 50% off your first order. One last time, that's promo code KYA for 50% off your first order plus free shipping. Let's talk about orange. It's going to be really quick, because I don't see a lot of orange auras who are exclusively orange. What's funny is, because I wrote the book, What's My Aura? And I talk a lot about orange in my book. What's funny is a lot of people who are red and sometimes yellow identify with orange. Orange for me is an energy color that does appear on people. It just doesn't last very long. It's something that can be temporary, not inauthentic, just kind of a temporary thing. I mean, I do see people with orange auras. It's just not it's a very high vibe, high level, high intensity energy. It burns hot. So it's hard to wear it for long periods of time. When someone does wear it, they are accelerating. Sometimes the best way I've been able to describe it, and you may have heard me describe it this way before, is when I was in high school, we used to make those CO2 cars. Like you put the CO2 cartridge on your wooden car that you make, and then it would give it, like you'd set it off and it would just zoom really, really fast. Orange to me feels like a CO2 cartridge on your energy. It is just like a burst of energy that moves you through something. So yeah, I can see a lot of reds identifying it and a lot of yellows identifying with it too. It's something that really accelerates change. So orange auras love and live for change. I mean, to be orange is to have energy, motivation, and a total singular vision. Your 3D world, so making money, being on top of business, being the best at what you do, like just rising to the top, creme de la creme, like that in the 3D world is how you express it. So money, power, connections, business, title, labels, that stuff isn't superficial for the orange aura. It's how they express their ability to move through energy here. So a lot of people who are orange usually are making a lot of money and they're on top and they're kind of like they got the 1% vibe in a way, and they're moving through it fast, and but on top on top of that, they're very dynamic. So they're hard not to see. They're hard not to notice. They have a flair about them. In the jobs, it just has to align with that. So anything they do has to line up with power, money, motivation. And a lot of these, everything I'm saying will get a lot of in our, I guess, just in our world, like, oh, money doesn't make you happy. It's not the money that makes them happy. It's the fact that they leveled up, beat a system, moved through levels. It's more like that. Like they sense the way that our social structure is set up and they want to just streamline through it. Just break walls, break ceilings, break through. That is what they want to do. A lot of times they can get in trouble because they're breaking rules. Rules like sometimes with money, rules sometimes with laws and how we're supposed to work as a society or whatever. They can see these rules as imposed limitations to try to keep us in our spaces, in our roles and our casts of roles or whatnot, and our socioeconomic situations. So they can have a little bit like, I don't feel bad about it. I'm just going to move right through it. I'm going to move right through it. So it can get you in trouble. But a lot of times these oranges are at the top of their game. So they're owning their own business. They're starting their own businesses. They're in charge 100%. They love orange auras in love. Everything they do has to do, again, with being on top. So their partners have to be part of it somehow as support systems. They have to understand this person's vision 100%. Everything they do, like kids, family, spouses, friends, they're all involved. Everyone's involved. The purpose, their life purpose, is to reach the moon. And if they got there, they'd want to go to the next solar system. They have aspirations that are truly out of this world. And I think that's why a lot of people look at oranges. They're like, wow, really? They said that? They're doing that? Okay. Pet peeves, the word no. They do not like hearing it. None of us do, but like oranges actually, it's like a feeling when they hear it. They're no? Okay, no. Like no to your no. And so they will break a system down and reinvent it just to get what they want. The underlying things about orange auras, they aren't full of themselves. They're just living and breathing confidence. Maybe that is full of themselves. I don't know. They are total living and breathing confidence. They will pull people into their world. So if you know them and you're loyal to them, you're part of it 100%. If you throw them under the bus, you're dead to them. What makes them happy? Money, success, independence, and goals achieved. So again, back to wearing it. I feel like this is a color where I have seen some people wear orange auras, that's for sure. But I would say a lot of reds, sometimes yellows, sometimes purples, can put on the orange, and it can move them through such stuck and stagnant times in their life that it's not the worst case scenario energy. I think every time I describe orange, it sounds materialistic. And it is, but that's just the expression of them. It's kind of like the symptoms of the material success that they achieve is just symptoms of their ability to get where they want to go energetically. Yeah. So sometimes I'll see people wear orange, like if they're going through a divorce or if they're selling a business and starting a new one. Or I see people in politics wearing it. I see big high-level CEOs wearing it. Sometimes I'll see like high-level athletes wearing it. So it's kind of like I said, like that CO2 cartridge of energy moving you through and getting you to the next level quickly. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys.
All right. So I hope the logic colors we talked about today make a little more sense to all of you. Of course, I love your feedback. I love to hear your take on it and what you can add to it over on the Mystic Michaela Spiritual Family Facebook page.
Okay. Now, I do recall you saying during your first segment on the Reds.
Yes.
Salesmen.
They are. They're good at sales. They believe in it, you know?
I feel right now, to end the show, I need to go full red.
Okay.
I'm going full red here, guys.
All right.
I haven't done this in a while. All right. First, reviews.
Well, let's start with the
We
reviews.
love your reviews.
Thank you for them.
I read every one of your reviews. Mystic Michaela reads most of your reviews. She's indigo. Okay, so we have to give it to the indigo. Sometimes, they get nervous that something could be said and that, they get shunned from that. So I read all the reviews and then I pass them along to her and she reads them. So if there's anything little thing in there that might trigger her, indigo, I skip that review. And then she said, "Oh, was that a good one?" I went, "Yes, that was the best one we ever got." So, all right. So review.
Got to protect the energy here.
Yeah, got to protect my indigo here, my purple indigo.
But thank you for your reviews.
But yeah, thank you for all your reviews. We do read them all. On iTunes is great. I don't know if on Spotify you can actually leave an actual review. I think you just click the stars. But on iTunes you can do that. All right, sponsor codes. We love our sponsors.
We love our sponsors.
I know a ton of you use these codes. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Thank you so much.
That's how the show keeps going.
That's why we're here. We thank you.
Yeah, so incredible. Thank you so much for that. There's 3 books by Mystic Michaela you can buy.
You're really
3 books. The original hit, the Angel Numbers book. If everyone has a copy that's listening by now.
You are going full red sales guy here.
Full red. This is salesman Scotty today. So Angel Numbers, Psychic Workbook, What's My Aura, of course, and again, you can review those too if you like. If you're bored one day, it's
Thank
raining
you guys
out,
so
you
much.
have nothing to do.
Oh, my indigo's overwhelmed right now. I'm so grateful to
she's
everybody.
She has her finger on the shutoff button.
I'm cringing.
And I keep on telling her, take your finger off. I have to keep.
He's kicking me.
Yeah. Okay. The event in November.
Oh yeah, so excited.
We still have some spots available for that. That's in Fort Lauderdale, November 15th and 16th. That is the gathering of the Mystic Michaela Spiritual Family. We've done it a few years in a row now. It keeps getting bigger every year.
Yeah.
Indigos, don't worry. We want you there.
We have
there's downtime.
There's nap time scheduled.
There's nap time scheduled for the indigos and the blues and all the empath colors that we didn't talk about today.
That's on the mysticmichaela.com events tab.
So you go to that.
We'd
we'd love to have you there.
Yeah, I'm excited. I love seeing everybody.
It's a great time.
We have a good time.
Bring your book, or we'll have books there. You get it signed. And just meet new friends.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that's all we hear all year long is how people have formed friendships.
Oh my God, I cry.
And that is the goal. That was our goal for this was to, find like-minded people, bring them together, and then send them out into the world.
It's true. When MMSF members make friends with each other, it's kind of like that moment in It's a Wonderful Life when a bell rings, an angel gets its wings. Like, that's how I feel. I'm like, oh, like it's like watching bunnies frolic or something. Like, nothing makes me happier than seeing you guys befriend one another. It's true.
Yeah.
I get so happy.
Yes. And then most importantly, you guys spread the word of this.
Oh.
That's how this has been from the start.
Yeah.
We appreciate that, just sharing it with your friends, family, your favorite other podcaster, your favorite celebrity people. So many people over the years have come and said, "Oh my God, we got so many messages from your people."
It's all because of you guys.
And it's all because of you guys.
It really is. It's word of mouth. And anytime I've ever had anything happen, it's you have the nicest fans. You got the most invested listeners. And I'm like, I know. Like, they're freaking amazing.
Yeah. When I sometimes pitch people, it's this crazy red salesman pitch. And people just like give me, the responses I get are just like, go away.
Yeah.
Go away.
Yeah, I don't have a management team or PR company. I have you guys.
So we have you.
And I have Scott. That's what I have.
Yeah, and I got to, sometimes I'm grumpy and I write bad pitches. So
it's like the only reason why this continues or has gotten anywhere is because of you guys. You guys,
yes.
And I appreciate you all so much. More than I think I can express with words. So I just try to put it all into the podcast. Like, every time I do a subject or I think of something, I'm like, how can I help people? How can I make people see how special they are? How can I make this world a little bit better by helping people see how amazing they intrinsically are? Because I'm so blessed to be able to see that when I read you and I see you, and I just want you, I wish I could just feel it. So I really try to put that in this.
All right. Well, I'm going to end it with this.
Yes.
This is for you guys. Jumanji, 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 Jumanji.
Okay.
And in case you're seeing Hat Man tonight, Jumanji.
Okay. This podcast is for you and about you, and we're so glad you spent some time with us today.